InfoNile is currently running a program called Everyday Nile. And Everyday Nile is a photojournalism project where we have worked with journalists from 9 Nile Basin countries, and they were supposed to tell stories of everyday life around the Nile. So Ripon, how we came to Ripon landing site was a story done by one photojournalist in Uganda called Miriam Watsemba, and Miriam documented the plight of people living in Ripon landing site after the effects of the flooding of Lake Victoria. And the whole idea of us going back to Ripon was for us to share the stories that Miriam told using photographs. So we had an exhibition at Ripon landing site exhibiting the photos taken by Miriam, and we invited the community to come and see the photos of themselves.
Webera season ngeri rainy season that's happening akwe mabegao nti enkuba bwe tonnya nebeera mpitirivu nnyo abantu amazzi gabalumba ne gava wegandikomye ne gajja ku mbalama ate weesanga nti sifa abantu abali obulungi. So mu mbeera eyo gye tulimu weesanga nti wano tulina akatale katuyita Nile River wano kuli ku landing site. Now kana akatale abantu bayiyizaawo obulamu okubeerawo at the same time nabanga ate we basula being nti embeera gye tulimu si ennungi ennyo, so abantu bebakawo ate ne bayiyizaawo survival. Now enkuba bwejja amazzi bwe gajja ne gabalumba like nga bwe kya happening last time kyabakosa nnyo, abamu kyabaviiramu okulwala, abamu kyabaviiramu okuba nti relocating from we baali babeera ate ng'omuntu aba teyeesobola.
We did the photos in March 2021, and then we went back a year later, which was March 2022, and we took these photographs to the community and exhibited them right where they were created with the people who are in the photographs. I was so happy that fortunately all the people that I documented last year were still there this year. Unfortunately, one of them had lost his sight, but the rest was still there. And the other thing I liked is the fact that we translated the captions of the photos to their local language, which is Lusoga.
Bituyisiza bubi bituze eri mu nnaku yaffe gye twalimu okutujukiza biri ebyo twayitamu oba biba birungi nta naffe tubeerenga awo nga tubeera okwetukanyamuko twaliwo twalyako bye twali.
The objective of the exhibition at Ripon landing site was for us to engage with the community, because often you find photographers go into a community, they take photos and then they disappear. But we wanted to bring back the photos to the community and engage with them, especially on issues of climate change, seeing that they're the ones who are actually most affected.
Ripon landing site, it was started in 1929 when the time they built here the railway. There is a ginger pier here where the ship coming from Tanzania, Kenya. Now, the early years, there used to be a falls the other side. That is the name Ripon Falls. When they built the dam, Ouni Falls Dam, the water did squeeze. You can't see now the falls. They named it because of the Ripon Falls the other side. And the same landing site, it is where Queen Elizabeth, when he came here in 1954, they passed here and they used this water to go to see the Ripon Falls. But it is historical, but he lived like that. At least the government helped us load this. When the time I came here in 1987, this was a Tamaka load. Now today it is a Malam load. At least the government, they help us And we poors, we are the one who make the revenue in our country. We poors.
It's important in any story told that all the subjects feel that they're represented well, and just going back to Ripon and being on the island and being on the landing site and seeing people just engaging with their own photographs and capturing their faces, their emotions, really showed us the importance of that representation.
What stood out for me is their responses after. The responses after looking at the photos, and they're reading them in a language they understand, and they're seeing visuals of the people they know. They're seeing visuals of a guy who makes relics at their landing site. They're seeing visuals of a nurse at their landing site, and they're seeing how their land was just 10-12 months ago. And then you had responses like, these photos are making me remember where we came from. These photos are making me realize the weather keeps changing. Around this time last year, we had a lot of flooding, and our houses were being submerged. And unlike this year, we're having a lot of heat. There's so much heat, it's too hot. The weather keeps changing in ways that we don't understand. And they're saying ideally, around March, we should be having rains which are normal, and we're planting. But this year, we're having a lot of sun. And last year, instead of having the sun, we had extremely too much rain that was not even favorable for farming, and the lake was flooding. So such conversations coming out of them understanding climate change from their perspective, by seeing visuals that speak to them, by hearing voices that are relevant to them and voices that are familiar for them. So as journalists, I think one of the best ways we can cover stories about climate change, especially in situations where there is such hesitation, or you're a government official, you just want to take our information, is that we need to firstly educate these communities to understand what we mean by climate change. Why are we trying to make conversation about climate change? To make them understand that this is not just a special local challenge in your community, it's a global crisis.
naye omwoleso guno gwatuleetedde gutukoze bulungi, era tufunye ebyokuyiga bingi, era tusaba kyemulabye wano nga mutulaba amazzi gatutulugunya wano, tusaba waba muzeeyo musale amagezi kale naffe mulabe engeri gye musobola otukwatirako tusobole okubeerawo nga naffe amazzi ne gaba gazze tegatosobola tukosa nga luli omwole gundi eri gwekola ki wegajja luli ne gatukosa nnyo.
Singa baba tukolere jeti nga jeti nga gye twagala ne bakola ddala gye twagala, okuyingiza kwaffe kweyongera ddala, nga nze tuwa guide kweyongera.
Need help, but yeah, help in that akatale kano nga kati bwe kali singa kasobola okuba nti kaba kazimbibwa mulembe okutuukana n'ekibuga status, ne kaba nti abantu basobola okubeeramu ne banoonyezaawo embeera survival nga bwe tuli, ne tulinnyisaako ku standard akali ne tulinnya ku mutindo ogwa city, because kati n'embeera gye tulimu oba otunula akatale kano tekatuukana naki na mutindo gwa city. Ne twagala naffe okubeera nga tutambulira wamu ne bannaffe abali mu city, tubeere nga tuli ku pace y'emu. Kati abantu beetaaga obuyambi, beetaaga abafunders, beetaaga NGOs, beetaaga bonna abalina omutima nga balina obusobozi obusobola okuba constructingirawo akatale, basobole okuba nga bayizaawo ate nga at the same time balina n'obasula.
Apparently, in all that we do, it must come from the will of the people. So if the locals have the will and they are calling on City Council to come up with a modern kind of market, I want to assure you that the plans are there. The plans are there.
It is also important for InfoNile because we were able to measure the impact of Sinking Land, the story by Miriam, on the ground. And you realize that the story won many awards, but the people whose photos were winning awards didn't have any idea of that. But going back and engaging with this community and having them look at their photos, having them engage with us on what they think climate change is, I think it really adds onto our agenda of water and the environment in the Nile Basin. It helps us have everyone on board. So we are very happy we went to Ripon landing site, and we hope to go to more community exhibitions, to host more community exhibitions so that we can just engage with the communities that we tell stories about.